Okay, and we are live.
Yeah, now we're live. Might be a little bit of lag when Tevis is in. If you guys hear static, let us know. We're here for another Fiesta Friday. Actually, on Friday, it was such a green day in the market. Just to stay humble, I figured I'd just go ahead and put on the PayPal shirt as a reminder that even though this week feels like we're all geniuses, yeah, we all make mistakes too. So today we're going to look at quite a few different topics. So the theme or idea of rotation, whether it's underway or not, some SoFi specific movement news, or really something that Tevis has done. We'll talk about SaaS, including ServiceNow, Palantir, and of course Robinhood. There's a good bit of news as well. NBIS, a little bit of news there, and mostly we're going to spend a lot of time on Q&A. So if you have questions not related to anything like this, let me know. But I do want to. I see one comment on there from a first-time poster. Cav U for me says first-time posting, but I've been following YouTube for a while. Try and alternate whose stream I watch so I don't play favorites. Thank you very much for watching and appreciate your comment. How are you, Tevis?
Good. I am testing out different internets around the country to see which one can actually support the streaming. So hopefully this is better than last time.
Yeah, if you guys hear his voice is grainy, let me know. It may just be my headphones. I'm not sure. I wasn't paying close enough to the time. I'm the reason that we're late because I was playing chess. I hadn't played chess in a long time and I was getting destroyed. So, Tevis, where do you want to begin today?
Yeah, wherever you want. Wherever you want.
Okay, we're gonna do the one topic that is not listed in the title. It came out just a little bit after we were talking about this title as well. And I want to see if you want to know if you've seen this. It's interesting, related to the stablecoin called NVIDIA and also Microsoft. So there were several accounts, not just these two, that posted a new era PC and these coordinates. If you actually look in the coordinates, let me remove my shopping list from Kroger there. If you look at the coordinates, it's at Computex, which is a conference that's happening this weekend. NVIDIA and Microsoft are both a part of this as well. Did you see this, Tevis? And did you see what the speculation is? I hear my mic's a little, I'll turn it up a little bit. Let me know if
I
this is better.
I haven't seen it, so this is all new to me.
All right. So, yeah, Computex specifically is, since it's saying new era of PC, what I'm speculating that it is they've talked about NVIDIA CPUs and the N1X architecture. This is kind of like a similar move as what Apple did years ago, shifting to ARM instead of with Intel. And so it's an integration of CPUs, GPUs, and NPUs for the AI side specifically. Now, they do have a partnership, as some noted in the comments to this, already NVIDIA does with Intel. So this doesn't mean Intel is going to zero or anything like that. But this is a whole new TAM for NVIDIA. And so, we don't know exactly. It is speculative, but new era PC, they've talked about these NX1s or N1X or N1 CPUs. I think that's what's going to be launched, and they'll mention there's a number of partnerships that looks like that they already have, but I think something will be announced here as well. Should be bullish probably for both of these guys. We saw a little bit of price appreciation on Microsoft this week. NVIDIA, though, classic stablecoin. It's just kind of been, not going anywhere. So we're slightly down this week. Go figure.
Yeah, I mean, everybody wants to get alpha on each other on the AI race, and everybody sees Nvidia as too slow or too bloated or anything in between. And then you look at the financials and you're like, oh, wait a minute, this thing's way undervalued relative to some of the names that have been pumping like crazy. And it just doesn't make any sense. Nvidia, I mean, it didn't make sense before the run up to 230, and now it's back down. Uh, yeah, we'll see where it goes, but you can't go wrong buying it, I think.
Yeah, and I'm going to stick to my call on Nvidia. I still think that it's going to flirt with 300 by next earnings, and I think that this is going to be one of those things that moves it. This is just TAM expansion. Nvidia sat still here. It's not trading expensively despite the $5.2 trillion market cap, which is obscene, yes, but there's a reason why it's so massive. Moving on, I wanted to get into next SoFi specific stuff. I know a lot of times we'll wait until a few more people are here, but you did something, Tevis, that I thought was pretty well timed. Tell us about what you did with SoFi and why. I guess like what happened.
Um, yeah, I bought a bunch of leaps on SoFi, and I was gonna do it. I mean, we talked about this on the pod, but I sold basically um, a portion of the BM&R shares that I had, and I just rotated that money into SoFi leaps because I was just like, all right, if I think about the catalyst that we have upcoming, what is most likely to multiply that money? I mean, I don't know on a stock basis, it might be one to one, but SoFi, with everything that they have upcoming and the catalysts, I think those leaps are going to do very well. Um, I bought 25s because I'm a DGen. I should have probably bought like 20s or 15s, but yeah, those leaps are up like 20% today, which is crazy because I've only held them for a day. And yeah, it worked out, but I really wanted to write them at the beginning of the week when SoFi was like still in the 15s. Um, but like, man, come on, you have the CEO coming out and saying he wants to buy leaps. I don't know what more bullish sentiment you can get than that. Then you also have to keep in mind, Roy, that at this valuation, we're now again flirting with S&P 500 inclusion. June 12th is going to be the date of the next announcement. And SoFi has what, 14% short interest now? And so if you think about the SoFi USD, big business banking launching in July, all of the green shoots that they potentially have to multiply their business out. And then you tack on maybe one rate cut by the end of the year. I mean, chances are still that we're not going to get any this year. But I think towards the second half of the year, the market is going to be rewarding SoFi because it's going to be forward looking to 2027. And the thing that made me more confident to buy those leaps, because leaps is largely a matter of timing. I think I saw ServiceNow catching a bid. I saw Snowflake after earnings catching a bid like 35%. I saw MongoDB have a crazy price action after earnings. I saw Dell. I saw all of these like SaaS companies essentially really catching a bid. And I thought to myself, oh, wait a minute. This rotation that we're talking about is entirely underway. And so I was like, okay, SoFi here is beaten down. It's high short interest. They're executing. They have catalysts in the horizon. And there's also like macro pieces that could play in their favor. I want to go in leaps. And you have the CEO that's basically also saying, he's researching leaps. You've had even like Bill McDermott on ServiceNow and other CEOs buy a whole bunch of their shares signaling confidence in their stocks. So it was just an ideal time, I think, and it's a very big purchase for me to go options because like I bought what like a pretty equivalent amount of dollar, I think more in Amazon total position, but it's like spreads. So I'm covered somewhat, whereas this is like just pure leaps. And we'll see how it goes. You're on mute, by the way.
Okay, so just to confirm, did you sell all of your BM&R or did you just sell a chunk of it? Okay.
No, no, no. Like one third, I would say.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I've done similar things too. Yeah, like you said, it does seem like that there's maybe some rotation as well. And SoFi just, look, people were looking for a catalyst today, but a lot of these names like had huge moves, software names as well that you mentioned. And if you look at like, well, 3 days ago this happened, and 2 weeks ago that, it's bottom line rotation. Now, whether it's just a day or actually much of this week, SoFi's up 16% this week. If it has legs or not, we'll have to see. But it's healthy for the market if there's more than like five names that are going up in a straight line. And this is what the market does over time. That some of the names that are hated that are not doing well, like I'm not the biggest fan of CRM. CRM was up almost 9% today. Wix has been just beaten down and smashed into smithereens. It's up about 10% today. So, and there's no news specific to today. It's just one of those moves in the market. So, do you think that this actually has sustainability, has legs as far as what's happening with fintech? We'll talk Robinhood in a little bit, and also with software, or is this just giving us a little bit of a breather and then back to the races next week with photonics and everything?
I think there's a lot of names that are going to be hyped up in the AI trade that we're seeing right now. It's giving weird flashbacks of 2021, which I'm not loving. There's all these like signals of euphoria in the market with regards to just stupid degen stuff that's going on. And stupid degen stuff is getting rewarded. Like you're getting companies that are um, not even good companies now catching a bid because it's the FOMO trade. Like people think that they missed out on the Microns and the SanDisks, and now they're buying the no name $1 billion company that is like so far from returning that investors' equity that it's not even funny. But they're getting bid up like crazy, right? That to me is dangerous. And I think we're gonna see a pullback at some point or another, probably sooner rather than later. Like I was thinking about locking in some Nebius gains. And the reason why, Roy, is because just what we've seen over the past week, there's more and more indications that, okay, maybe AI, the early data is showing that it's not as hyped up as these companies might have made it seem from a productivity gains perspective. And we're now seeing like Microsoft removing their leaderboard for AI, and all of these companies kind of being a little bit more measured in terms of saying like, oh, AI is not going to replace all people immediately, and we're going to magically see all these gains. It does hallucinate all the time. It is imperfect. Like there is a ton of slop out there. And so the fear that I have is we're priced to perfection on the AI trade. And the moment that somebody comes out and says, hey, we're actually reducing capex because the productivity yield from AI is yet to be seen, and we're going to play it a little bit more measured, you're going to get a cratering in all the AI names because the market is forward looking. And there's so many people that have gains that they're sitting on that they just want to lock in. And so I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop in the AI trade. And I think this rotation into software is largely the first like preliminary indication of that. Like money is rotating preemptively because when that article does come out, or when one of these hyperscalers does say something that's anything but absolutely bullish for AI, it's going to be too late. Like these names will already be taking a haircut.
So I kind of agree with you. A little bit different take here on some of this. So I don't think like I don't, for one, I don't, just to like put words in your mouth, I guess, and correct me if wrong, but you're not saying like the AI trade is done. It may need to take a breather. Like when it's priced to perfection, any little give means that there's a pullback and it can take a while to regain the all-time high. By the way, guys, I know some of you came in a little bit later. You're seeing the PayPal share. I'm not back into PayPal. This week has been really good to my portfolio. And when it's a really bad week, I like to remind myself, like, hey, what these companies are quality and everything. When it's a really good week, it's easy to expand the risk funnel. And so I'm wearing this in part. It's one of two reasons. Just because I'm like, hey, keep me grounded, keep me humble. Even though, I mean, like Robinhood just printed this week, man. It printed, and it's my largest position. So, yeah, it was a good week in my portfolio. So, but I'm actually not sure if I'm at an all-time high or I'm very close to it. So, on AI specifically and the pullback. So, the other thing that I think is happening is they had the wrong measures. Like AI usage just for the sake of usage is just like stupid. That never made any sense, but people were excited about it, whatever. So there's some pullback against that. I think that there's also, and this is going to be a continual process, against wasteful or ineffective AI. That you can use AI just for the sake of AI. That doesn't mean you're actually building and shipping. But so like behind me, Palantir. I don't think this is a reason why Palantir is running, but a lot of these companies are running into the reality that if you're just using AI products without much of a plan, or you're doing that without something like an ontology, it doesn't have to be Palantir, you're probably not going to be as nearly as effective as you could be. Now, don't want to do like a full pivot, but did you see the comment that I had on Figma specifically in Robinhood from the other day? Because I want to
Yeah,
get your opinion. Okay.
I maybe walk us through that, and
Yeah.
then
Okay. Say I have like an 8-minute video, and I'm not going to redo the whole thing, but yeah, this is this is Shiv Verma. He is the CFO, the new CFO of Figma. And let me go ahead and zoom in here. Remove that down a little bit as well. And I went in too much. 1 second. And we need annotations. Here we go.
you see this, Roy? Starting August 1st, PayPal's debit card 5% category is no longer allowing redemption as cash, only gift cards and other non-cash items.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know why you'd be. Venmo's a great product, but
Take
PayPal's
that
fine.
shirt off immediately.
Yeah,
Take it
yeah.
off.
No, like the company sucks. It just they had a chance. Like I was excited because I was like, hey, they can reinvigorate growth. They used to be a growth company. I think with Alex they could have given more time, but yeah.
Yeah.
It just I need to change this to just pain. But okay, so real quick. So Shiv was asked about basically what they're using for AI. In Robinhood, to set some of the stage, like they talked about how early adopters they were, that Sam Altman was, or Vlad was on the phone with Sam Altman that first weekend when ChatGPT Enterprise came out. Early adopters of Opus 4.7. They've used it for a bunch of things. And then they challenged their marketing team to do an ad. And it's really pretty incredible, like how quickly they're able to go from idea to deployment. But they start off and they mention from the Figma designs to actually creating the video to avatar actors to using 11 labs for the voice to post-production to actually putting it together took 4 hours. So I thought it was interesting, that Figma was there. And Figma's been caught up in the SaaS apocalypse where a lot of people are like, hey, all these AI tools are going to replace Figma. But the reality is, maybe they could, like if you really play about them, but like if you're building something in collaboration, you're probably going to use an existing tool rather than just like, hey, let's vibe code it just from scratch. Why waste your time with that when you can do other very interesting things with AI? So I think that we might be at the point, and it does seem like all SaaS is rallying right now, but I think that we're at the point here within this next quarter where the market will, instead of shoot first and ask questions later, they'll say, okay, there's going to be winners and losers in this space. Let's try to figure out what those are. And so you'll see some names, like Snowflake certainly did this week, appreciate dramatically. Other names, maybe not so much. But yeah, we'll have to see.
Man, I don't know what went on with MongoDB, what the hell they said on the earnings call. Did you see the after hours for MongoDB, Roy?
I didn't know.
Okay, hold on. Let me throw this up because, and I want to
Yeah.
get your reaction on this because this is bananas. Okay, what happened on MongoDB's earnings call? All right, let me share my screen. This is gonna be tough because I'm only on one screen, but yeah, I don't know how I can do this. I don't know how I can do this. Maybe, yeah, I don't want to share my entire screen. Not that crazy. Let's see. Actually, hold on. Let me do this.
What are you wanting to bring up? I can probably do it.
It's all right. It's all right. I could do it. Let me just.
While you're working on that, I can mention one more thing with Robinhood. Like Robinhood's running for a lot of reasons. They've had a couple of comments, a couple of a fireside chat like this one specifically. There's a lot of things that were really interesting and bullish. They launched agentic credit cards, which I thought was pretty interesting product. Their agentic trading, I think, is I haven't played with it yet. I need to at some point over
All
this next week, but it seems pretty mediocre. But like the one thing before you show this, there was also confirmation that multiple states now have reached out to Robinhood to get them to build the Trump accounts. And actually, right now, if you look at the App Store for Apple, the number one finance app is Trump accounts built by Robinhood. All
yeah,
right,
we
MongoDB, what's going on?
can talk about that. All right, this is the after hours price action for MongoDB. Okay, this is just a screenshot I took, but like they closed at 325, Roy. Okay, immediately when the report came out, they went from 325 down to 225, and then they then they ran up to 412, and then they said something on the call, and they went immediately from 412 down back to 325. What? Hell, like, do you understand this thing is swinging like 20 to 30% up and down in after hours? Just like,
That's
what is going on?
Yeah, there's been a lot of weird price action this week, especially, and like I mean, like even SoFi, like SoFi this morning went up, and it was at 19, and it was up like 17%, 18%.
Yeah.
No news, nothing, and yeah, there's a lot of other names that ran too, and we saw Service now, I think on Monday. No, Monday was closed. Maybe it was Tuesday. Unusual action overnight. It just and there's a lot of names that like on no news or anything just go up quietly 10, 15, 20%, and then there's some retracement. Now this is a more extreme example, but it is a smaller float. Any guesses as to what's going on? Because I don't follow that name. Uh, okay.
I don't even know what to tell you, man. Like, okay, you could say, well, this is only a $27 billion company. It's like, dude, are you kidding me? It's like jumping 1/4 of their market cap down and up. Like, hold on, let me just do the whole peak to trough thing. Let me just see what this is. Okay, so 61% move, Roy, from the bottom to the top. Yeah, 61% move from the bottom to the top. And that was 6:08 to about 6:30. 22 minutes. This thing moved 61% peak to trough. What? 61%?
That's insane.
Bro,
Yeah.
boomers are going to have to invest for a decade to get 61%. MongoDB is just YOLOing it in 20 minutes.
Yeah, of course, you'd have to perfectly time it, but yeah, like it's strange. We'll have to see. Like, I'm really intrigued to see what happens next week. This is not a tame market by any means. VIX, I believe I saw that it was at the lowest level at one point today for over the last 1.5 years. And if you think back over the last 1.5 years, it's not exactly been a tame market. So it's been fairly bullish and everything. So yeah, it's interesting times. We'll see. Like if this continues, like if it is rotation, if it's sustainable and everything, I think that gives a broader base for the market to continue to move up. And a lot of those price targets that were put in the S&P 500 may look low. Now, of course, the wild card is always inflation, Strait of Hormuz stuff, still not settled. There's other things that are in the water that can pull things back. The market will take breathers, and we'll be reminded of that from time to time. Yes, there is a PayPal shirt too, man, it's all, you always think that you have the market kind of figured out. It's like, okay, it's just gonna love AI names, semi names specifically, and hate on everything else, and then all of a sudden, actually, no. Um, by the way, on that rally and pivoting away from some names, I am no longer a shareholder in, guess the company.
Air Test Systems. No.
Nope.
You're still going to be a shareholder in Air Test. Okay, hold on. What do you have? You have Palantir, you're still going to hold it. You have Hood, you're still going to hold it. You have Air, you're still going to hold it. You have BM&R.
And covered calls.
Covered calls.
Underwater.
Oh, God. Are you out of NBIS?
Yeah.
No. Why?
I'm hoping it'll like I was just like, hey, if it's under $200 or if it's over $200, CoreWeave at these levels I think is more attractive.
Ew. Ew.
And no, okay, did you see the CoreWeave news that came out this week?
Ew, Roy. What is this? Are we breaking up right now? Is that what's happening?
We're done. We've broken up. No, I'm still like, I'm actually working on a piece that I'll publish this weekend on data centers specifically. I still think Nebius is amazing. But it's kind of like so it's not as extreme. People think, oh, it's way overpriced and everything. I don't think Nebius is. I think it's a bit ahead of itself, but not like ridiculously so. Uh, come on, but I love the company, and if all things were equal, I'd prefer to own Nebius and hold Nebius over CoreWeave. But I also think CoreWeave is really, really good. I think Iron is decent. There's also some smaller data centers that are interesting too that I might pivot some of the money in back from Nebius. But the more realistic thing is I'm probably Tevis just going to write cash secured puts on Nebius next week. So this isn't I'm never going to touch Nebius again. I don't really like it above 200 right now. And of course, you can laugh at me when it goes to 400 and next
Hey, man,
week.
look, I think nobody went broke taking profits. So congratulations on that. And you know what happened is you had this Leopold guy buy up Roy's shares.
Yeah.
Could have sold to worse. Do we want to talk about that? Because
yeah.
wild news.
Let's talk about that, and I'll mention like the one piece of news with CoreWeave too. So what exactly is that about? Because why? I mean, a lot of times when you see these funds buy a stock, other than Warren Buffett, like which everybody recognizes and knows, it's like, yeah, cool, they bought some stock. Why is this different?
All right, so this kid is what, like 24 or something disgustingly young, which makes me hate my life. And
And
he
set for
turned,
life.
yeah, well, I mean, he's been set for life. He turned like 300 million into like 13 billion in a year because he was early on the AI trade. It helps that his wife is the chief of staff for Anthropic. So I wonder what their pillow talk is all about. Um, you know, and everybody is now treating this guy like the second coming of Jesus, following every single thing that he buys into. And people were saying, look, man, this guy has not bought into Nebius. What the hell is going on? He's bought big positions in Iron. He owns a position in CoreWeave. Is Nebius just not cut out to be, good enough for this guy's portfolio? 13 F came out, no Nebius. Turns out a few days later, we got news that this guy bought Nebius. Not only did he buy Nebius, Roy, but he wouldn't have even reported buying Nebius if it wasn't for the fact that he bought over 5% of the company and he was like legally required to disclose. He is now the second largest shareholder in Nebius behind the CEO and founder, owning 5.6% of the company. And like insane amount, first of all. It also, Roy, is the biggest position in his portfolio now. It's like 35% of his entire portfolio. 38%. Thank you.
Yeah, the sizing absolutely matters and is relevant. But it's one of those things too. Like everybody loves a winner, and this guy's been like just hitting home runs left and right. But like you said, he's just bullish inference. Now he's super bullish Nebius, and it's interesting. We don't know exactly when he bought, but we know like the time frame and range. It could be that his average, like he was buying it up under $100, like we were, and it was stupidly mispriced. But it's probably higher.
He would have had to disclose it prior. Nebius was not in his disclosures at all. It just came out weeks after. So I'm assuming he just like aped in after that disclosure was made.
So, I mean, that could be too, but oftentimes you accumulate, and when you get near that 5%, you go for the gusto rather than just one chunk. But it depends. I don't know his investment style. Maybe just buys in one lump sum. But yeah, it is bullish, Nebius. Now, I do want to share the one thing that I thought was really interesting that CoreWeave actually put out this week. So they are bare metal.
Talk to your book.
Nebius is NeoCloud, uh, but bare metal doesn't just mean bare metal, and there's absolutely nothing else. For CoreWeave specifically, they launched basically a product that's a feedback loop for training and inference. So basically, you're using deployed agents for training as well. And it's really interesting the way that they have it. So the reduced cost by up to 40% and accelerates training by approximately 1.4x with no loss in quality. And it seems like a pretty good product. We'll have to see what the adoption actually looks like. But I think that this is important for CoreWeave over the long term. You know, if we're looking like 5+ years out, I think that the quality of your offering and what you offer beyond just the bare metal inference, that's going to be able to make your product a lot more sticky or perhaps command higher margins and a higher premium. I think Nebius has by far the lead there. I think Iron is also ahead of CoreWeave where they're at relatively. But I like it. And of course, this is a little bit different offering than a copy of the Token Factory or something like that Nebius has. So, but yeah, like I think all these ultimately are winners. But CoreWeave, I think, for whatever reason, the market's disrespecting it. The two things that were thrown at me on that CoreWeave were, of course, the debt load, which everybody knows about. It's a different strategy. We talked about it last week. And of course, insider selling. And yet again, insiders sold a bunch of CoreWeave stuff. You don't really have that with Nebius. So not on the same scale. So we'll have to see and keep an eye on it. But usually insider sells don't really bug me. If they did, I wouldn't be in Palantir.
Look, listen, Roy. Let me just ask you this. All right, when are we gonna cut the shit, and when are you gonna get back into Nebius? That's all people care. You're not fooling anybody here, brother. We all know CoreWeave is second in this race. When are you getting back into Nebius, man?
So I legitimately I'm probably going to write a cash secured put. Now if it gaps up and it's like $230 a share or something when we open on Monday, probably not. But cash secured put, I tend to write those a little bit more aggressively in this market. I'm very cautious with covered calls as we saw this week. It's prudent to be so when things can move this much. But yeah, like I could see a scenario where a couple weeks out I'm owning Nebius. And I do think, like, if this is rotation that we're really seeing, Tevis, I think that Nebius is one of those names that's going to probably pull back along with the trade. Doesn't mean it's going to go down very far. I don't think it will because people realize, like, man, this is a quality name in a space that's growing ridiculously, and they're differentiated. So, um, would love to, but I don't want what happened last time. So I bought Nebius at 24 and I sold in the 40s, around a double, a little bit less than a double. Here, I got a double again, but I sold. I think 155 was my price, but I was buying at like 75 or something, and wrote some options against it. So a little bit over a double, and I would be pretty sad if like we're looking out 6 months from now, it's $400. I'm like, okay. There's been so much news and so much production. 400 is cheap. I'll buy it. I don't think that's going to happen, but yeah, again, cash secured puts, but aggressively.
Dude, I was looking at the premiums on Nebius, and they are bananas. Okay, I was
Yes.
looking at selling at the money covered calls, Roy. So 225s, 230s for Nebius for June of 2028, and you could get a 70% return, like 65, 70% return. What is going on? Like guaranteed, right? Like you get that up front, and then you just take a nap for the next 2 years, uh, and and that's it. Like they either get hit or they don't get hit. But I mean, you might be crying because in 2028 this thing might be at $1,000, and you just agreed to sell it at 225. With your 70%. But it's just crazy the amount of premiums you can get. The IV is just insane.
Yeah, I can even pull it up. Give me a second, just hide my stuff here. But
I
yeah, seeing is kind of believing here.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I have
I'm
one
probably
of
gonna
the
closing my
right now.
my
Ooh,
160 cash secured puts at some point soon. that I wrote when we were on that pod, where I was debating like, oh, do I do Micron or do I do Nebius? And that was for July 17th. If you remember, I wrote that on margin. That's like up like 60% or something, but I'm probably going to end up closing it if we rally next week.
So yeah, here's Nebius, and let's just look a week out just to show how ridiculous this is. So if we're looking here, this is puts on this side. I'd be writing, we're at 229.28. If I wrote $200 cash secured puts, and that's probably about what I'll do. I'm going to be paid, of course it'll be the median price, but $315 per contract for a week. That's pretty good.
Yep.
If I was more aggressive and we were writing at the money cash secured puts, well, close to at the money, let's say 230 in the money slightly cash secured puts, $1,260, which is essentially saying, hey, I'll buy it at this level next week, and if not, you pay me $1,260 per contract. Premiums are juiced. A lot of it is the IV specifically. But man, yeah, I don't mind willing it. Thankfully, most of my Nebius position has been in a tax advantage account. And so, I do have a little bit of short-term capital gains taxes in one, but that's a good problem to have.
Yeah, I still think we're going to go to 350. I don't know if we're going to go to, 150 before we go to 350, but I still think 350 is where we're headed.
All right. Let's see it. And hopefully I can get back in at nice 180, 160. Like the further it goes down, the more I'll buy. So I'll probably just do one or two contracts at 200. All right. So before we go into Q&A, there's one other topic that I wanted us to hit. It was back kind of specific to SoFi, but also to stable coins. Now, I don't know if we want to play the audio recording or part of it. It wasn't the best recording, but let me show you guys what it is. And wanted to get your thoughts on this too, Tevis. Did you see Jamie Dimon's comments on Fox Business today?
I send it to you, bro.
Yeah, I know. I'm asking as far as like in this type of setting, Tevis. I know.
It's 4-minute video. We want to play the whole thing?
Yeah, I guess we won't play it necessarily, but okay. So there's in the video. I think we could just sum it up. Like it's very entertaining. So if you don't really like Jamie Dimon or you like to see banks kind of sweat a little bit, it's a really good one. So in it, there's a couple of things. So one is he called Brian Armstrong, the CEO of Coinbase, some very colorful language, and I don't think that they love each other very much. It's all around the Clarity Act, and so he has talked about that it's using the B word for the Clarity Act. I'm not going to use it, but he does not like the current iteration of it at all. He wants to make sure that yield loophole is fully closed and that there's no chance that Coinbase and others can continue to maintain that loophole that they're currently benefiting from with their relationship with USDC. I actually wrote an article talking about Clarity Act winners and losers on Artemis. It's in my profile as well. And actually, SoFi, two interesting things. One is when I was doing that article, I actually became even more bullish on SoFi's positioning with their stablecoin. I already was very bullish, but thinking about it more, I'm like, oh man, they're uniquely set up, even among the tethers and the USDCs, the Ripples, the pay USDs of the world, and so forth. And then the other thing that I thought was interesting is when she is asking about competition specifically, he mentioned a few names. One of those, of course, as Josh indicated right there, was SoFi. And he said these are run by very smart people, that they're looking to eat a slice of our business or sometimes more than a slice. I think Jamie Dimon is mostly just mad that maybe Chase can't get away with laughably and comically low APR rates that they've been able to offer for a while, along with a lot of the major banks. Let me also, in that context, show this, just so you can kind of see it. SoFi did lower their rates, and I don't know if we want to talk about it too much, but you can see what Chase offers. A nice, in their savings account, double the amount as their checking, 0.02% interest. Like if people want to bank there, that's fine. It's a free country, but man, This is why, more than anything, not because he's actually worried that, you know, that it'll cause some instability with our financial system, because he was very bullish in crypto and said so in those comments. But I don't think he wants to get in an environment where he has to battle yield rates with a lot of these others that don't have, of course, major financial or major brick and mortar institutions that they have. They're already in that with SoFi, but yeah, 0.02% interest might not cut it forever.
Did you see this?
Yeah, I didn't see that, but that's awesome. Yeah, the CEO himself is putting it out there.
Yeah.
So, what was your takeaway from that, and whose camp are you in?
Well, interestingly, Jamie Dimon, who runs a bank, said we're going to be fighting this like hell for the version of the Clarity Act because it doesn't benefit us as banks because of the yield on stablecoins and the rewards. And then Anthony Noto, who also runs a bank, is like, absolutely, like we love this version because exactly the same reason that Jamie Dimon hates it. Difference is SoFi has SoFi USD, SoFi has all of these crypto offerings, and it's also funny that Jamie Dimon was like, "Oh yeah, like people should buy and sell crypto. Like it's a free country. We fight for these freedoms." I'm like, "Really, mofo? Really?" Because 3 years ago you were calling it a pet rock and blocking people's transactions. You two-faced hypocrite. But I mean, look, man, I love it when I see Jamie Dimon sweat a little bit as a SoFi shareholder and as a
Oh yeah.
Ethereum token holder. And so, look, I think you can yell into the void all you want, and you can fight it all. I mean, he said, "Hey, we're gonna fight it, and if we lose, we lose. If we win, we win. But we're gonna fight it either way." It's like I don't expect anything less, but I just feel as though this wave is feels as with this administration specifically feels too big to be suppressed by the traditional institutions.
Yeah, this is actually the most rattled I can remember hearing Jamie Dimon in a while. And I
Yep.
mean, like obviously JP Morgan Chase, they're not going away. They're massive. They've run a lot of things incredibly well. Um, but he sounded pretty scared about possible implications for his company should the Clarity Act not be passed. Possibly, I like the thing is like if the Clarity Act is not passed, we're just using this existing loophole as it is right now, like barring another bill coming behind it, and it's hard to get those passed. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. But I'm very much firmly not in Jamie Dimon's camp, but in Brian Armstrong's camp. A lot of Jamie Dimon is kind of a bear on a lot of things and very pessimistic. And maybe it makes sense to do that as one of the largest banks in the world. But they've talked about gloom and doom because of being able to offer yield through this loophole on stablecoins, and we've not seen that. We've not seen anything near that. The one thing that we do need to avoid with that kind of type of business is being able to lend out against multiples of those stablecoins. But other than that, like,
Roy, they have gone kicking and screaming to every regulator that's going to hear them, to every committee that's going to hear them, to every talk show that's going to hear them. And ultimately, they've used all the arguments in the book. They've used their political leverage, their lobbying abilities. They've argued that if, for whatever reason, clarity passes, like the world, the capitalism, the capitalistic structure as we know it is going to fall apart if they put all of this effort that they put trying to fight this into innovating, they would actually be leading the race.
yeah, and like to be fair, like he was asked about stable coins, and he said yes, they'd be interested. They do have one that they use basically internally for the most part, and also one other project, but they likely will be issuing something as well. He didn't seem anti crypto at this point. There was some hypocrisy, as you mentioned, as well.
Mhm.
Let's go ahead. Are there any other comments you or things that you want to look at before we look at Q&A? I see a lot of good questions.
There's a lot of good questions. There's 26 questions that I've bookmarked, 27 now. And I think we're going to have a good show. I think we can just jump into the Q&A right now. I don't think there's anything else that I really wanted to chat about. Yeah, let's jump into Q&A.
All right.
Mm.
Is while you're pulling that up, is my mic okay, guys? Or I moved the positioning so it's a little bit less in the screen. If it's harder to hear me, let me know.
All right. Let's see. Q&A. Let me just timestamp that. Q&A, 45 minutes. Okay, so first question. I need an update on your mom's degenerate trading, please. Yeah. So her portfolio. So, okay, let me preface. She has other retirement options, you degens, and this was just cash that she got as a bonus one year. And she was just like, hey, put this wherever you want. And I put it into like 50% SoFi, 50% Tesla. Tesla did almost a double. I sold the Tesla, I bought Hims, and Hims did more than a double for her. I sold the Hims and I bought Nebius. And so her portfolio is 50% SoFi, 50% Nebius. And I showed her the screenshot, and it was the exact same amount, like her all-time high this week, than it was in October. Except the difference in October, Roy, was that Nebius was at like 120 and SoFi was at 32. And she was at and she did like a double top essentially, where she hit her all-time high and then it just went down for like 3 months. And now she hit the all-time high again, except SoFi's at 15 and Nebius is at 220. So I was just like hyping her up. I was like, "Oh, your portfolio is doing great." And she looked at it and she's like, "It's the same as it was the last time you showed it to me." I'm like, "Oh, well, it's been a long time since
Yeah.
then."
When it
Anyway,
does zoom out, but not too far, not to that one time frame.
yeah.
Further.
And but she gets excited when she's like making money, because like she gets these like email alerts around like, so and so is up 10% or so and so is down 10%. And she whenever she's making money, she's like, "Oh, I gotta like save more and I gotta, put more in there so I can make more." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." But whenever she's losing money, she's like, "This is dumb. I should have sold it and bought something nice for myself." Like, all right, mom, thanks. But yeah, anyways, that's the update. Is ASTS at a good entry point for swings before the SpaceX IPO? Did you see the price action this? We didn't talk about the Blue Origin uh, blow up.
Yeah. Go into that. Like, why was it? You followed that a little bit closer, and then there's also one piece of SpaceX news I want to make sure that you
Let
saw
me
too.
actually share something because I think this is really interesting topic. So this user here, I'm kind of curious to get your thoughts on this, Roy. And we're going to talk about ASTS in the context of this. But this user here says Bezos has 3 options left after New Glenn blew up on the launch pad. So this is the view from Florida. And
Yeah.
I'm sure people have seen like the high def views, but essentially, it blew up on the launch pad. $1 billion plus heavy lift rocket program, final ground testing before their satellite mission. They're now boxed into 3 choices per this user. So option 1 is rebuild the launch pad essentially from scratch, because it's complete rubble at this point. The pad rebuild after a full vehicle explosion could take 12 to 24 months minimum. Their constellation is already years behind SpaceX. Even a month of delay costs Amazon market share they cannot get back. Option 2, borrow or buy launch capacity from a competitor. So going to SpaceX and saying, "Hey, can we launch off of your launch pad?" Option 3, absorb the delay and keep investing. So yeah, essentially just keep going. The interesting thing is this: they have no second pad, no backup vehicle, no timeline for the next attempt. So what are you going to do in this scenario? Like, this is something that was reminiscent to me of SpaceX in the early days, in the 2015 2016 timeframe, when they were like, we had one chance, and if it didn't make it that time, like that was the end of the company. And it did make it, and SpaceX is $2 trillion company and whatnot. But where does ASTS fit into this? Well, if you remember, Roy, ASTS had another dip like this back in March because was it a SpaceX rocket? One of the, or maybe I can't remember. The chat will keep me honest, but I think it might have been Amazon as well. One of the rockets didn't make it far enough, and then all the satellites were on it, and so ASTS didn't get to orbit, and it was like they were insured and everything, but the stock took a big hit for something that wasn't their fault because ASTS has the satellites, they don't have the rockets, right? And now ASTS fell again. It fell like 17 or 18%, something like that. Let me just check really quick. Yeah, 15% it fell on the back of this blow up. Really interesting because on the backdrop of all of this is the SpaceX IPO, which is happening in like 2 weeks. And space stocks have largely caught a bid in anticipation of this. So it's kind of weird. I wouldn't say serendipitous because, like, obviously we don't wish that upon any company, but it's just like coincidental, let's say, that this happens when space is like dead center in the spotlight.
I'm muted. As far as this question, I'm not sure on ASTS specifically. Blue Origin, like I've never really thought it was like as high quality of competition as SpaceX specifically, Rocket Lab as well. Uh, ASTS, I don't know, probably as well as I should. But yeah, this race is definitely heating up, and it'll be interesting to see how they perform, especially with that massive IPO coming this next month. Is actually sooner than a lot of people think.
Yeah, look,
Did you?
what I'll say, last time ASTS dropped for something that wasn't their fault, it shortly regained all of the price that it lost and then some. And this isn't their fault. ASTS doesn't own Blue Origin.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I think there is something to be said, you know. So this user says Blue Origin's last launch. If Blue Origin, I mean, this user says they already have a second pad in construction, but at very minimum, they're going to be out of the game for a while. And if ASTS is hitching their ride to Blue Origin, then okay, the drop is warranted, even though it's not their fault. It just remains to be seen. I think I'm sure people know this way, way more than I do because I don't invest in it.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't want to have my wagon hitched to Blue Origin, even before this launch. But yeah, and I would prefer that that's not the reality. I mean, like the more companies that are actually involved in the space race, probably the better it is. Competition tends to, especially early on, as long as these companies are able to survive that, and all of them have deep, deep pockets, fuels a lot of innovation and expansion as well. But now on SpaceX. Did you see the news that dropped today on a contract for them?
Yeah, yeah, the army contract or the air defense contract.
Yeah. So this was a $4.16 billion contract that they had earned. This is from space, I believe, Space Force. Yeah, there it is, right there. And then earlier this week, they also had a 2.29 billion contract. Of course, we talked about the Anthropic news, them using the data centers there, which effectively doubled SpaceX revenue. This one, man, like it's anybody's guess what this IPO does and what that valuation is. I think that this is, of course, not only going to smash a record, everybody knows that, but I wouldn't be surprised, even with inflation, that this is like the highest market cap IPO for like 20 something years. It's going to be one for the record books.
An insane statement, Roy, because right after it, you have Anthropic and OpenAI, and I guarantee you that one of those guys by the end of the year is going to be close to 2 trillion.
Anthropic, maybe OpenAI. I don't really believe it, but like I think SpaceX might even go to 2.5 trillion as an IPO, which is just crazy.
Yeah, it was
So
interesting because like there was reports that they were lowering it to 1.8 trillion, and then Elon was like, "Nah, we're not." And I mean, look, I've been very vocal about my theory there that Elon himself wants to pump it as much as possible because SpaceX and Tesla are going to merge immediately after the IPO to take advantage of that momentum. I don't know if that's going to happen. That's just my theory, and like I think it makes a lot of logical sense.
Yeah.
All right, let's continue with Q&A. All right, let's see here. Why is everyone so hyped about Nokia? I think it's just people want to take advantage of the AI trade in novel ways that is, maybe a little bit more sophisticated or um, maybe a little bit more non-conventional than just buying a video. So
Yeah.
Nokia, BlackBerry, all of these companies are sort of making a resurgence because they're getting involved in that AI trade, and NVIDIA is largely behind them. And NVIDIA has been probably one of the best investors of the year outside of politicians and Leopold with their portfolio.
Yeah. If you think about how significant telecom is, as far as like a lot of people, their usage of AI for individuals is through this device right here. That involves telecom. Of course, it goes beyond that into software and also hardware as well. I'm not playing it. Amit did get in. He has and I've not read it yet. I pulled it up because I was like, I know he's written something. But I'm sure you're familiar with Amit, but take a look at his deep dive on his Substack, and it's ultimately because they sell indestructible phones. Not really.
Yes,
Yeah, I'm
exactly.
not sure if I buy the thesis or not. I do need to read up on that.
Tevis, how do you have so much money to buy so many SoFi leaps or just in general? Do you only buy a small amount each month or do covered calls, cash secured puts to collect premium? How do you build a cash position? Um, I do sell covered calls and cash secured puts to collect premium. So, yes, I also sold a portion of my BM&R for those SoFi leaps. So it's not like the money was just sitting there. I freed it up by selling something. And then for the cash secured puts for like Nebius, for example, like I wrote those, on margin essentially. So now with that said, like I do have these like piggy bank positions, which is like Meta, for example, or my spreads on Amazon, which are very much in the money. Uh, Positions that are safer or less volatile, let's say, that if push came to shove and I can't roll something out or maneuver and I need to have and I don't have, money to put into the account, I could probably sell one of those and and have some liquidity pretty quick. So that's one way to do it, but yeah, it's not like there's infinite amount of money because at some point, like you're not optimizing your opportunity cost. Let's say if you just keep a large amount um, always sitting on the sidelines. Uh, what's the number in net worth for you guys to walk away from everything? I'm assuming it doesn't.
Yeah, I'm gonna take it in that you mean like everything, not work anymore and not do content, and uh, I don't know that there is a number for that. Like maybe it would probably depend on my wife. If my wife is like, "Hey, let's do this as a family, and this is what it'll mean," and she sells me on that vision, then maybe. But I have no idea what that number would be, and I don't want to put that thought in my wife's head. So, wait, for retirement, I've had to raise the amount that I thought that I would need, and I think that we can get there. Uh, Without too much of a trouble, because I plan to retire in about 20 years. I love what I do. I plan to continue to do that as long as I can. And for me, it's, I get paid, but it's not ultimately about the money. I really enjoy it. And even if I set as far as retirement goals, I would still probably work just because I love what I do. But for us, that's $5 million. Looking at the rule of 4%, looking at if we have persistent inflation at 3% instead of course, the Fed target rate. I've had to bump it up, and so that is equivalent when I'm 65 to $200,000 a year, which is not $200,000 in today's money, but it still is a pretty uh, decent chunk of money that we can use very conservatively and be able to. Yeah, I mean, look up the rule of 4% if you're not familiar with it.
I think everybody over works. Sorry, everybody works for longer than they theoretically should because they follow these silly little rules. Like I love the rule of 4%. Don't get me wrong. Rule of 72. All of these little cheat codes, essentially. But the rule of 4%, you only live off the interest, essentially, off the excess. You don't burn down the principal. And it's just like, dude, if you have to work for another decade so that at 65 you can retire to only live off the interest, well, I hope you really love your kids because you're leaving them $5 million plus, right? So
Oh,
my point is like you could work a decade. Like let's just say you don't love your work, right? Let's just say you want to, fast fire as quickly as possible to retire, right? The number, the very lean number is at what point can I burn down to zero by 88 years old or something like this. And then once you get that number, then it's just like, all right, to build a little bit more comfort, at what point can I start living off the interest, assuming 10%, and then assuming 5%, and then assuming like, 4%, 3%, whatever. My point is like the I would imagine that there's so many people that could have retired earlier, but they retired way later because they were chasing some like rule that only optimized for living off the interest versus burning down the principal.
so one thing I do think people need to keep in mind though, and I do think that's fair. Like you can eat into it, and like if we're at like $4.5 million, I'm not going to be like, well, no, I better not retire because rule four. No, but I think with what's happening with AI, especially in the medical space, and it is one place where Americans have been very eager and very excited about AI. With that, with what's happening in biotech, with what's happening eventually with robotics as well, I think that the human lifespan, GLP-1, and those type of solutions also contribute because all of a sudden you have lower rates of cardiovascular disease that's tied to weight, diabetes, type 2 diabetes, a lot of impacts. Uh, I wouldn't say like a doubling of human lifespan, but if a lot of people are thinking like, hey, I'll probably kick the bucket at 85, you might have another decade of like healthy, active life beyond what you expect. Like in a lot of past generations, we've seen this lifespan increase, not so much on the lifespan, but as far as like active quality of life, like people that are in their 70s, for the most part, live very active, healthy lives. Some do pass away, some have health problems, of course. And if you go back 30 years ago, it wasn't really like that. So, I mean, it wouldn't shock me if, like 30 or 40 years out, Tevis, where you and I are still around, I'll be old by then, I'll be 85, that the 85s are the new 65s. And that I end up living, conceivably, if I'm healthy and nothing weird happens to me, to 100. And that's not that abnormal then. And so, when people are building out and figuring out their retirement, have that in mind. Like, don't just assume you're going to die at 78.5 years or whatever the average is. That also includes infant mortality as well. So, it's better to be more conservative, I think, with those goals than like Dave Ramsey. We've talked about it before. I think that they do rule of 7%, which that will probably eat into the principal. And it's fine. Like again, if you think you're just gonna be alive 20 or 30 years and you build your models on that, but don't get to the end of your life and be like, oh man, I lived to 110 and you were just in poverty the last 20 years.
Yeah, but like also, who gives a shit, dude? Like, I'm sorry, but the stuff that you're stealing years. Okay, it's different because you love your work, you would do it for free, and like I so respect that to the maximum degree. Okay, but like for me, you see these freaking white hairs. I'm 31, mofo. I don't want to give up my 30s so I can get an extra decade in my 80s. Screw that, man. I would rather leverage my youth to enjoy my life because there's so many things that I can't physically do at 80. And so it's just like, oh wow, if I'm burning into my principal and I run out of, it's not like I'm going to run out of money magically one day. It's just like you're going to recalculate the math when you get to 60 and you're like, oh wait, I have to tighten the belt a little bit sooner than I thought. I'm not
Yeah.
like, ATM is insufficient funds. I'm like, oh, I'm out of a meal tomorrow. So the point is like, I don't know. I just think people like oversimplify a lot of these things. And in reality, it's just like it, there's an arc. Like people get high on this idea of like the gamified aspect of their portfolio. It's like, oh, how high can I get this number? It's like at the end of the day, it's a tool, man. Like I can't wait to, you know, accurately calculate what is the highest I can get my portfolio and then start to see it burn down over time because I know that I'm actually leveraging it to live my life.
Yeah. Yeah, and that should ultimately be the goal, not preservation of wealth. Like, I mean, you do you. Like, I do want to leave something for my kids, and if I get grandkids would be great too. But yeah, but I also like the main thing for me, Tevis, is it's not even so much about leaving an inheritance for the kids. I'd love to, but I also want to make sure that they're building and doing things and not just waiting for me to die so they can live. That's terrible. But I don't want to put myself in a position where, let's say that my wife ends up passing away and it's just me and I'm chronically ill, I'm sick, and I've not invested, I've not saved for retirement the way I needed to, I squandered it, whatever happened, and all of a sudden I'm a burden to them because like they either stick me in some home somewhere, but they don't want to do that because they love and care about me, or they're burdened with taking care of my physical and financial needs. It's like, is there a reality when that has to happen? I mean, like sometimes it happens, and we've taken care of one of our parents before they ended up passing away. This is years ago, but um, if I can avoid it, that's the main goal: is provide for my family now, make sure that my wife and I are taken care of, and so that we're not a burden and we can live generously in our retirement.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe this is like me coming from a place of privilege. I'm not sure. Like I was having this conversation with one of my parents the other day because like I'm back home and I'm chatting with them and whatnot, and they were like, "Oh well, if we make this real estate investment and eventually like we can get two little apartments, like one for you and one for my sibling, and those will be your inheritance." And I'm like, "Mom, I don't care. I don't care to get an apartment when I'm 50 when you guys pass away. Like, I would rather you guys just sell it and, like, enjoy your life." And I think I'm doing a little bit better than my sibling is to be able to say that, but at the end of the day, like, man, I don't know. It just I don't know. I feel like sometimes I just lock myself up and work 7 days a week on in this career, and I'm just like, "What the hell am I doing all this for?" You
Yeah,
know? And so I think that it's a real gift to be able to plan all of these, like to do the math of your life. What are my expenses? What are my, what's my cash flow? What do I need? What is a life that I want to live? And then work the financials. Like it's just a math problem.
yeah. Yeah, and like on that, like I'm not universally that way, and it depends on individual circumstances. I do think if you get married and have kids, it's going to change. But like one thing that I do think that a lot of people do the opposite of is I'm a proponent of taking Social Security here in the United States as early as you can. Now, everybody's situation is different, but part of that is also the reality. Like I think my generation might be the one that has to pay into Social Security the entire time, all through a working career, and not get anything out of it at all.
Yeah.
So don't count on that also for retirement. Um, I see. Yeah, let's hit the questions a little bit more. But this next one is for you. I see. I need to go get a drink because I forgot to grab one earlier. I need some extra caffeine because we have 28 starred questions, and I know you're
Yeah.
going to add another 10 or 12.
Yeah.
But let's do rapid fire beyond this.
Yeah. All right. Um, no, I don't live with my folks. I'm just visiting because I'm traveling. Okay, this is the question. Tevis, will you start selling calls in your leaps or leave them be? I don't think I have the permissions in my broker to be able to sell against my leaps, so I'll probably leave them be. I have plenty of shares that I'm able to sell covered calls on, and I'm going to be leveraging that. So I'm gonna do that instead. And then next question, would you guys ever have guests on sometimes? Would be cool to have experts in certain fields like cybersecurity or something AI related. Yeah, so we were thinking I was getting interested in Ondas and we were thinking to have a guest from the Ondas community on either bootleg or this show. What do you guys think about that? Like, is that something that you guys would be interested in? And we would just have them on and just chat about drones and what the bull thesis is and so on and so forth. But let me know if you guys would be interested in something like that. Uh, do you get people?
What I need to do is pair it with Palantir hat or something like that, and I'm fine. Yeah, I don't. I actually do have one really nice. I rarely wear this, and it's usually for when I'm doing a bunch of stuff, and I don't mind getting this shirt dirty at all. Not because I hate PayPal. I just it's a shirt. I have one really nice PayPal shirt that I'll wear occasionally, and people will comment on how much they do not like that company more than anything else. Ugh.
Yeah, I I'm actually not at my parent. I'm at like a random apartment that my aunt has because she's traveling, and it is the spookiest little apartment in this like random neighborhood in town. And I just hear like all these noises from the neighbors, and I'm just like, somebody just open the door. Like it just, hmm nope, 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 nope. Yeah. Do you think this war keeps on going so they can keep market manipulating? I feel like both sides will announce something so the market moves in their favor.
It almost sounds like the Forever War or even George Orwell's 1984 type of thing, where you just have a perpetual war going on. No, I don't think so. I do think that there will be resolution. I think that there needs to, but as long as things are moving through Hormuz, it doesn't really matter how long that ceasefire is. They even traded shots this week, and yet things didn't break out. So I think peace will be made at some point. But yeah, Hormuz needs to be open. Otherwise, we might be in for some pain.
Yeah, I mean, um, look, man, Trump got charged $200. So if they keep up those fines, this can go on for who knows how long before before one of the sides is bankrupt. Um, did you see that, Roy? The $200 fine?
Mm-mm.
Oh, buddy, it was like insider was it insider trading? It was something like with regards to stock manipulation or insider. And you got fined $200.
Just say it's legal if you're
Yeah,
going to do that.
exactly. 200. Um,
That's dumb.
yeah. Okay. You can never leave the stock market. You want to put more money. You want to put money in the bank. Yes. Are we back? Yes.
Feels like it. Yeah.
New better than SoFi? No.
Yeah, it's a great bank. I think that they're so different. It's hard to compare them, and they're also different domains. I know New is coming to the United States, so I would say no. But I also have not used Nubank. I've got not access to it. SoFi is my main bank account.
Did you buy before the pop? Oh, I think he means for SoFi. Yes.
You did, yeah. You nailed it.
If SoFi gets to 30 by 2026 end of year, will you close those leaps or hold? Close.
Yeah, you have a huge position, so that was just a swing for you.
Well, I think like if it's at 30 by the end of the year, that position will have tripled. Uh no. Maybe doubled. Something like that. Yeah, because I bought them for $4 and they're $25. So it would be maybe like, yeah, $9 or $10 at 30. So yeah, 2x. I'm okay with that. Have you seen SoFi asking people on X what products they should create next? It seems like they're building products at a pace similar to Robinhood. Yes.
I wouldn't say similar, but the cadence is much improved, and I think that they're going to probably be above average as far as being able to ship out quality and products. And we've seen it like since last December.
If you guys were Matt Money, would you sell some Rocket Lab? He said he'd rather keep and lose 1 million than know he had a winner that keeps going.
If I was Matt Money, I might be at my walk away and just smile all the way through retirement, early retirement. I don't know. He has made bank, boy.
Yeah, look, I think like people talk about these like generational companies, but the reality is that like every year you find some other new company that's on the brink of prime time, right? Like there was a point where Robinhood was unprofitable, going into the profitability. You know, Rocket Lab was completely like in retrospect, it seems stupid, right? Like, oh, this is a $3 billion company that's competing with SpaceX, which is a $2 trillion company. Like, okay, either one is overvalued or one is undervalued. Like, there's no in between here. And I just think that like getting married to a company like that has already done, however much, like a 30x or something, and just ride or die. Like, bro, you could easily take off half, live an incredibly lavish lifestyle, and even with the remaining half, if it goes from a 30x to a 60x, like you're golden. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think you need to be so rigid because next year there's going to be some other new thing. Like next, no pun intended, literally next decade is something that he's buying today for the thesis to play out in 27. And he's probably going to make 5 times, 6 times, 10 times his money on that one too. And so my point is like if you have a knack for finding multi-baggers, I wouldn't like get married to just one of your multi-baggers because he's found ones before Rocket Lab. He's gonna find ones after Rocket Lab, and like that's just the name of the game.
Yeah, I will say since you mentioned next decade, people might be interested in it. That one will take longer than Rocket Lab, and you can tell because of the name how long it'll take to get to that kind of return. Next decade.
Exactly. Um, there you go. Uh, we touched on cybersecurity and the power needed for AI. Any more conviction on what may be a more strategic play or both? So cyber versus power for AI. I'd say power.
I would say cyber. Well, it depends on your time frame. If you're like looking over the next year or two, power is easy. Cyber is going to probably take a little bit longer to figure out. Although a lot of the names, Zscaler is one that I saw too, got some pretty incredible bids. It was always silly that they were lumped in with SaaS. It was like, hey, AI kills this; it doesn't need it. It's like, did you see what Anthropic said with Mythos? Clearly, that's not the case. There is a desperate need for cybersecurity, and there's a place for these companies, and they're also using AI for their products as well. So, but my problem is, I like energy isn't like, at least from my perspective, that hard to understand. Cybersecurity is really challenging. So, so I'm in that bucket where I'm like, I'd rather be in a very bullish cybersecurity position for the next 5 years than power. But how do I sift out the quality? And I don't know that I can. I might just do an ETF at some point if I want exposure.
Yep. My question for the night is SoFi still eligible for S&P inclusion in Q2? Yeah, I mean, like, look, if they hold above 19, then they will be. And I think within the next, dude, I swear to God, this place is haunted. Um, within the next week or so, if they continue the rally upwards and hold above 19, they're eligible.
So yeah, are you saying $19 a share or
Yeah.
19? Okay, yeah. Yeah, market cap requirement. I had to look it up again. It's 22.7 billion, and they are not quite there. Now, if they're eligible, they can absolutely get in. We saw even in the last 2 years quite a few names that were just barely eligible. That didn't stop them from being added. I think this is certainly a company where they'd like to add it over the next couple of quarters. But yeah, we have to hold above a certain level. And 19 is a good level. They're at 23.37 billion right now, so they don't even need to be 19, but 18, yes.
Yeah. All right. Let's. What is your price target for CoreWeave, Roy?
I think it's probably going to double in a year, within a year, not in a year, quite easily. I think a lot of inference names might as well. CoreWeave, it wouldn't surprise me if it. So I don't necessarily plan to hold CoreWeave the rest of my life. I'll continue to see how they execute, what they build. If they do build something that's very credible aside from bare metal, and this week was an indication that they might. I may just hold long term, but yeah, this is probably a swing trade for me. That's what I'm treating it as right now, and so I'll treat it accordingly. And so like these names are very volatile. We could see like I said a year. I'm not saying I think it'll take a full year, but sometime in this year. So we could be 3 months down the road, $200 a share. Okay. Even though Tevis doesn't think so.
Yeah. Where do you see Hood going? Higher.
Yeah,
Next
I
question.
think by the end of the year, 120, 130 is pretty reasonable. We'll be out of crypto winter, but it takes time for I think the market to realize that in early next year. I think it will.
Thoughts on drones? Yeah, we might get somebody to talk about drones, guys. Does SoFi stablecoin directly compete with Figure? If so, what differentiates them? Figure seems like they want to create the guardrails for things.
Yeah, I would encourage you to read, and it's free. You do have to sign up for it on Artemis. The article that I posted there, it's in my profile as well. They do not really. So Figures stablecoin, which is yields, is registered with the SEC. It is basically giving yield from the real world assets that are there on their provenance chain, and that's how they're able to do that. It's going to be differentiated over time depending on uh, like most stablecoins are backed by 3 month treasuries. SoFi is a little bit different because it's tied to that federal funds rate, and they're able to keep a little bit of the spread, but give yield no matter what. Now, both, even if the yield loophole is closed, my understanding, and I don't see any way you could read the verbiage of like Section 404 in the Clarity Act, which is what's trying to address this loophole. I think both can offer yield, but the difference is SoFi is made for payments, and yield is made for yields. And basically, there's a couple of things that they do with it internally. They also have some partnerships externally, but for the most part, SoFi's ambition is payments, big business banking, leveraging it across their ecosystem. And yields is like, hey, it's all about bringing traditional finance stuff on chain through the Provenance blockchain, and then yields is offering the real world for several of their products.
Who performs better over the next 3 years, Figure or SoFi, Roy?
Boy, that's tough. It really depends what happens with mortgages. If you think that over the next 3 years that the mortgage market in real estate heats up, Figure will easily destroy SoFi, and SoFi will still put up really good gains. It's just how they're positioned, and yes, SoFi will benefit from that too. If you don't think so, or you think take some time, and I am of that mindset, I would say SoFi, especially from here. Now, if SoFi is trading at $30 a share, it'd be a different answer.
Yeah. Okay. Core to 200 or Nebius to 300. What happens first? Look, I think one. Go ahead.
I'm going to say CoreWeave.
You've become insufferable. I hope you know this.
Hey, at least I didn't buy Iron. Iron bulls and CoreWeave bull, or not CoreWeave, Nebius bulls. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know if you can own both. Like people treat it, it's kind of like SoFi and Robinhood used to be, and I was like, it's really strange that people will do that, but or Palantir and Snowflake, that was a weird one too.
Did you see the CEO of Data One was like, "Oh yeah, Nebius could probably buy Iron at some point in the future." Haha, I'm just joking. And I was like, okay, that's a weird joke to make, bro. Yeah, this is what I was gonna say. Like the moment they drop an Anthropic deal or an Amazon deal, like you wake up and it's 300. So Trevor is in a good mood. I like it. Latest on your new job. Yeah, I mean it's going well. It's a job. I don't know what to tell you guys. I mean, yeah, you're just managing a whole bunch of highly sophisticated toddlers. For the wheeling portfolio, what's a good amount of capital you should start with? 10K?
Yeah, and it'll limit you with some things. Obviously, with 10K, you can't really buy or wheel Nebius if you want to. So,
Yeah.
But you got to start somewhere.
Do you see a bigger turnaround by end of year with BMR or SoFi?
SoFi. Crypto winter will be out of, but it can take a little bit time for the market to price that in. Although I do think BMR will be a decent bit higher than it is right here.
Yeah, I agree. What is the cash secured put I have on Nebius or that Roy has on Nebius? Well, mine is 160 for July 17th.
Yeah, I don't have any. We'll see how we open up on Monday. If there's a big pullback, it'll be lower. If we're running up higher, it's going to probably be at 200.
Yeah. Are we going to hit some? Roy probably is. I'm not.
I haven't been invited yet. So have they announced it? I might have missed that.
I don't know.
Let's see. I know they'll have one, but yeah, normally the way it works for myself, Amit, and Tanner, and a couple other guys that go as well, is we get invited last, and we find out at the very end that we're going. and of course, a lot of times they will take care of for people the hotel and everything once you get there. And for us, we're just on our own. It's not just that we get treated like everybody else. We get less. Although they do give us like nice seating and we get to have some good conversations and stuff. So I'm not complaining, but yeah, I'll very likely go. It would have to conflict with something pretty important for me not to.
Very liberal use of the word "we" there, Roy. I mean, we excluding me.
I've offered to let you be my plus one before. If one of my family members doesn't want to go this time, you're my plus one if you want to
go. Wear the
yes.
PayPal shirt.
I should just make PayPal and just wear that.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Yeah, can Leopold's wife be in the stock draft? I'd love to have her tell me all the ins and outs of Anthropic, and yeah, I'm sure she would be a great stock picker. Thoughts on ServiceNow? Yeah, I mean it's catching a bit as a result of the rotation.
Yeah, I think it's a good SaaS name. I wouldn't especially want to own it, but it is like one of the big established players that I most would prefer to own out of the others, like way above CRM.
How bearish are you on BMR? More bearish than I was last month. When you're young and trying to build wealth, is it better to concentrate in a high conviction growth stock like SoFi or diversify? Yeah, I would say like concentration builds wealth, diversification preserves it.
Yep.
Microsoft all-time highs by end of year? Sure.
Where is it at?
It's been catching a bit now that Bill Gates is gone.
Yeah, that is funny. let's see, the all-time high. Well, they hit it earlier, 524 ish. They're currently at 448. I mean, yeah, like it wouldn't shock me.
Thank you for the $2. Do you think BlackBerry will follow the software trend? I think BlackBerry
It
is like an
is.
AI trade right now.
Yeah, yeah, they've been positioning themselves with that for a while. They of course do a lot with the interface and design in vehicles too, and they've been catching a bit along with Nokia. I think a lot of people look at those as like a lot of people that are in Nokia are also in BlackBerry or vice versa. So
Um, are you going to Tanner's meetup in August? Yes, I. Oh, she's asking June. Fuck. All right, screw me then.
yeah, and I'm 50-50, but one of my sons is going off to college, so if that's the weekend that we need to take him out, and he doesn't know the date, he needs to figure that out. That's a higher priority. But other than that, I would like to go. So
Hmm. What do you guys think about Path and Z Scalar? No thoughts.
Zscaler, like cybersecurity, like I don't know how to differentiate as far as what's the highest quality or not, but they're a good company. I saw that Path had earnings, and they reported good numbers. I didn't see what happened with the stock, but I'm assuming they caught a bid based on the earnings and also the rotation. Let's see, UiPath is it's actually kind of flat. It's up 10% over the last 5 days with the rotation. Look, UiPath, we get asked about this name quite a bit of times. I've not followed it actively since 2023, but when I took a look, actually, I think it might have been 2024, it just doesn't seem like it has that deep of a moat. And maybe that's changed over the last 2 years, but I can't imagine with AI that it has really deep and meaningfully. So, um, would it be a great swing trade? It might be, but I wouldn't want to own it long term. Personally, I think that there's deep remote companies out there.
Um, yeah, yeah, I think Bisha is a good option. The rooftop is like they have a nice pool and they have like brunch, and it's always like really packed in the summer. So that's a whole vibe. If and they have like this like entire like glass enclosure where you can see like a 360 of like the whole city. Ritz has like a nicer like lobby bar, but I don't know that they have a rooftop at the Ritz. They're really close by though. They're like a half a block away between each other. Let's see. How do you think Amit and Steve feel on basis points moving markets with Zeta and SoFi? Yeah, I mean, like they're doing super well. I think there is definitely something around in-person podcasts. It just has a
Right.
different feel. I've mentioned multiple times that, like, I thought the SoFi podcast was the most energized that I've seen Noto. Um, I haven't seen the David Steinberger episode yet, but yeah, very happy. Can't wait to see who they interview next, honestly. Like it's a treat for the entire retail community to have more of these people like talking to retail. So um yeah. Um yeah, so I love how he asked the question, then he got like annoyed and he just like donated $2 to like skip the line. Um do you all own Ondas? Neither of us own it right now.
No, and I do have some. I have some interest. I'll just say that.
Yeah. Um is Roy going to use Robinhood's new agentic trading? How much to fund it to start?
I don't think that there's any like limit. You basically set the amount of cash and the parameters. Honestly, well, I'm not much of a trader. I'm a long-term investor, which you can use the product for. They did do that good job on that. I've not used it yet. The release, and I'm a shareholder. Love Robinhood, and it's actually my number one holding again. Um, I thought it was just okay. Like if you compare that with what Public released a month and a half ago, it pales in comparison. Now, when I use it, we'll have to see, and I'm sure that they'll iterate beyond that as well. But What I was impressed more so by was the credit card agentic focus, and that seemed fairly novel. They they're really trying to break into the payment space, which is interesting. I mean, like obviously with the credit card, but um, yeah, it seems like it's a very differentiated product and offering, and it's not something I was expecting. So
Yep. Blake is asking, do you think you should tell the market what it wants, like Steve Jobs and arguably Musk?
I mean, like if you're a Steve Jobs and an Elon Musk, yes, there's not a lot of those guys, and I think you can be like the meme of old man yells at clouds, uh, which is not going to do a lick of good. It's not going to change the weather. But sometimes you just have to realize, like, okay, the market it moves predominantly over the short term based on narratives more so than fundamentals. Fundamentals are important for the long term, but for the short term, it's narrative. The narratives can switch on a just like we saw this week, a huge narrative shift. Uh, but we'll see how sustainable that is. But
Yeah.
like as far as like actual products that you launch and release and everything, those guys, you mentioned them because they're so rare. There's only one Steve Jobs. There's only one Elon Musk.
Well, if you think about like this whole idea of telling the market what it wants, yes, it's innovation, right? Like that is what passes for the definition of innovation. But really, what it is, if you really think about it, it's all storytelling, right? It's all marketing and framing. Like iPhone is cool, and I'm sure from a technological perspective, sorry, iPod. I'm sure from a technological perspective, there were other competitors that were maybe close or maybe had comparable offerings out there. But the framing of like, 1,000 songs in your pocket and this and that, the story that it told around design first, design principles, and um, I think those are the pieces that like really climbed it to a different level. And even with Tesla, right? Like the mission statement was the main thing. And I think to be a great product person at some degree to get massive scale, you need to be a good storyteller. And it takes a lot to be a good storyteller because you have to understand the psychology of your buyer. And yeah, that's hard to do. Like, there's so many people that have failed that game. Which doubles first, Beam&R or CoreWeave? It's fucking CoreWeave. Roy.
CoreWeave.
Okay, great. Sure, CoreWeave.
I'm going
Next.
to create a new generation with Tanner of CoreWeave Bulls, and we'll rival the net. No, just
You guys should
it's
start
a
a new
swing
podcast
trade.
together and have literally zero people watch it because nobody gives a shit about CoreWeave. All right, next
It's
question.
true.
uh, marriage proposals on Fiesta Friday. I don't even know what's real anymore, Kevin. So we'll see. If I don't get murdered on the stream in real time with these creaks at 2 a.m., then yeah, maybe we can entertain something. Thoughts on Blue Origin? I mean, it's blowing up. Yeah. Where do you think Palantir is going? Back to 200? It's not going to zero, then it's going
um,
to 100.
not right away, but yeah. It may not get there this year, but next year I'd be pretty surprised if we weren't actually back. Something would need to be wrong either with the company or the macro.
Yep.
Yeah, like all the stuff that came out from all these earnings, all these companies that are massively ramping, like there's just so many things that are like bullish and incredibly so for Palantir. It's very, very good conditions for them. And that net dollar retention, which is already obscene, I think we're going to see higher. I don't know that we see 100% year-over-year revenue growth, Tevis, but there's a chance. And at this scale, that's insane for SaaS. Like Man,
Yes, Jeff, you missed it. We said it has to stay above 19.
18, but yeah.
Sure. Um, will Roy or Tevis be in stock draft this year? Yeah, I think our 1 year anniversary is coming up on like beginning of June for the stock draft.
Yeah.
We gotta get
It's
people together.
I felt so spectacularly. I surely can't underperform this next year to that degree. It's
Yeah.
definitely not my type of game just because I'm so concentrated. And when you have 120 stocks that are going, I'm going to be in some that I don't know nearly as well, and I have less of a conviction. So
Yeah. Biggest conviction in 2027, dude. I'll let you know at the end of 2026. How about that?
yeah, I'll need to see how it plays out going past midterms, but yeah.
Thoughts on the rumor revolving AMD and Anthropic could be like NBIS or CoreWeave. If it's true, it'll cause price to go over a trill.
I don't know the rumor. Do you know what they're talking about? Yeah,
No,
let us know.
AMD's working with
Specifically if you do.
Anthropic, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Like, that's my best guess.
Or maybe Anthropic's working with Andy. No, just kidding.
Yeah, I mean, somebody's going over a trillion. That's for sure. Let's see. Matthew, are you guys in any investments outside the market? I'm thinking about cashing mine and moving it to the market. Do you want to go?
I have some precious metals. I've sold a lot of it, silver mostly, and that's the only thing that I have that's meaningful.
Yeah, I have some shares of companies that I've worked with in the past that it's honestly like so rinky dink, dude. Like you just transfer money to somebody's bank account and they give you a paper saying you have the shares. And I'm like, okay, what do I do with this? And they're like, nothing. Like if something happens, we'll let you know. I'm like,
Wow.
okay, cool, thanks. Um, yeah. Uh, pick five bagger to make 21K to 100K. Dude, just like go to the casino. All right. Like it just sound like my aunt, what's the next five bagger? It's like, I don't know. Okay. If I knew that, I would be in it. Okay. Roy, what's the next five bagger?
Air test systems. Wait, no, it's. Can
Don't
you
go.
imagine it going to 500?
Don't,
I do think it'll probably end the year higher. But no, yeah. There surely will be some. I'm not sure what that is.
yeah.
Like it sounds like you're wanting it. Like if you're talking about 10-year time frame, I could pick a lot of companies, but I think you're asking for something shorter term, and it's usually a sign of euphoria. So just be careful. Invest where your convictions are.
Yep. Tevis getting zesty. Yes, this is true. You know why? Because it's almost 2 a.m. and I'm done with your stupid questions. I'm just kidding. Do I watch the Oscars? No, I don't watch that shit, dude. When are biotech stocks coming back, Ron?
That's hard to say. Like they've caught some signs of life. Like if you look at some of the names that were especially down late last year, like they've been down for like 5 years. So maybe now, but it's not a space that I know very, very well. I was investing in Accelerate at one point. I do know some like Intelia decently well, but not. It's not my domain of knowledge. So yeah, I don't know that I'll go in there.
I will fucking ban you guys. Stop. Hottest. I'm not answering this. Arsenal, PSG, Arsenal. Remember Zune? I don't know. I feel like that I'm too
It
young.
was a music player forever ago. Yeah, I didn't have one because I was not wealthy, but yeah.
I don't know how I can answer this. I don't know.
I'm not sure about TV series, movies. I think the Lord of the Rings trilogy is it's incredible. Extended cut you have to do. Music artist, I think Rich Mullins. He's a guy that probably you guys wouldn't know unless you're into Christian music, but really respect the dude. He's no longer alive, but he's pretty incredible. Um, Beyond that, like there's so many. I, I don't. There's a lot that I like. So it's hard to like. Queen is just ridiculous, dude. I'll like kind of forget about Queen over time, and then like I'll hear something on the radio. I'm like, "Man." Like the range, the type of music that they're able to do, the consistency, like
Yeah, man. Freddie Mercury, voice of an angel.
man. There was even I don't even remember what it was, but there was a song of theirs that I hadn't heard before, and I'm just like, dude, like this one's great too.
Yeah, the song that always gets me with Queen is the one that he performed live in Brazil. I'm sure the chat will know. And like for some reason, like that is so sad and beautiful and just haunting at the same time. You know what? I feel the exact same way about Kanye West Pinocchio story. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's like the
Mm-mm.
album closer of 808 and Heartbreak, but also live performance from a show he did in I think the Philippines. Also, it's like what do you call it? Like off the top, like ad hoc. I don't know what the expression is, but yeah, yeah, love of my life from Queen. It's a goodie. It's a goodie. Anyways, Pink Floyd is fantastic. I love Pink Floyd. They used to be my favorite band growing up. Cage the Elephant is also a really good band. More
I've been
indie.
enjoying some Jackson recently too. Like it just
He's making a
that dude had
comeback. He's making a comeback. I'm hearing Michael Jackson all over the place, and like Drake's new thing with the glove.
yeah.
I feel like he's making a comeback for sure.
Like like if you just look at like a pure voice, like in engaging that, like I don't know that anybody could beat him. He didn't need auto tune. It just yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, all right, let's. If you had to buy and never sell CoreWeave or SpaceX, guys, Roy,
Probably SpaceX actually,
hey, we agree on something.
because we're talking about a long time. Like even though the IPO is way too overheated and way too expensive, if you're looking at like 30, 40, 50 years, SpaceX.
Yeah, I mean, like Dark Side of the Moon was really good. I think like this might be an unpopular. I don't know how familiar you are with Pink Floyd, but like this might be a controversial pick. Honestly, I think my favorite album is probably Animals, um, which is like great because like you'd think Dark Side, and then you think like Wish You Were Here, and then like Animals, but it's a good album, dude. It's I don't know. The chat's probably gonna flame me for that one, but yeah, it's a goodie. Uh, why does Tristan hate CoreWeave? Tristan doesn't hate CoreWeave. Tristan just owns a whole bunch of Nebius and it's superior. And yeah,
Right. CoreWeave, come on, outperform. Prove them wrong.
yeah.
Maybe what will you do if I look at the market on Monday and I write CoreWeave puts instead of Nebius puts?
Yeah. Uh, I don't know. Whoa. Big dog. Iceman. $14.
Hey,
Hi, Roy. You didn't even give the money to Roy, man. But it's fine. I mean, I guess. Hi, Roy. You were early on COHR, AEHR, and others. Curious to hear your thoughts on bottlenecks like AXTI, AAOI, and newer CPO names such as Sive, which went from like $8 to like $90. Given the upcoming exponential CPO TAM expansion to 91 billion.
yeah, I mean, like it's an area that photonics is heating up a lot, and the market is forward looking. AAOI out of those, I probably looked at the most, and it seems like the easiest to me. Like if I had to buy and own one of them, but probably all of them will be decent. Um, I don't know AXTI that well though. So
Oh
yeah,
boy.
they're pretty heated though. So like I don't know. I wouldn't jump in with both feet right now on anything touching photonics, but certainly over time it's going to go higher for a lot of these names.
Yeah, comfortably numb. Great track. Yeah, I mean Pulse I think is good. Um what was I gonna say? You know what I think? I think Metal is actually a good album as well. Because Metal was like before Dark Side, and it was like them finally getting their groove, like after Sid Barrett. And dude, I know way too much about Pink Floyd. I told you it was my favorite band growing up. That's a fun
Oh
fact
man.
that you guys didn't know.
One of my
But
roommates in college, it was his favorite, and he played so much of it. I actually don't really care for Pink Floyd because it was overplayed, but yeah.
yeah, yeah. The entire like B side of Metal is like one song. It's like one track, and it's just like a whole experience. Like just that's one where you like, you know, I wasn't gonna say it. Thank you, Blake. But yeah, it's a great time. Kelly's asking what your dissertation is on. I don't think Roy has shared that yet. We'll move on.
Yeah. Well, I'll probably like if I ever do share what I do for a living, then it is tied into that, and I'll share both probably at the same time. So
Meta or Microsoft, which outperforms the rest of the year? I'm gonna go with Meta, because I think
agreed.
they're I don't know. Their distribution is something that I think the market is really discounting right now, and yeah, man, I don't want to bet against suck. Microsoft, like I don't know, they're both great. Thank you, Joseph. No Brun. Has NVIDIA Cloud exemplar status to be 2 billion market cap. Brun. It's Brun.
Let me write that down. I don't know that. There's like so
Bruce
many
Inc. Bruce.
inference and data center names, cloud names as well, that are just small and niche, and sifting through them. I think that's one of the reasons why Nebius, CoreWeave, and Iron get a lot of attention because they're like just big and easy. I don't know that one, so
Well,
I'll
see,
check
like
it out.
even with this Brun thing, like, oh, 2 billion market cap, cloud exemplar status is like, it sounds great. You just look at the chart, they've done a 4x in the last month. And it's like, oh well, I know why it's on people's radars now. you
Yeah.
know?
I
Yeah, I
mean,
don't,
everything in that space has caught a bid. It's what happens when the market understands the narrative and what's going on there. Well, even CoreWeave, it's up a little bit.
yeah. Um, yes, I agree, June. Now it's just like you don't even need the drugs to feel like you're on drugs when you're listening to modern music. It's just all mumbling.
You're
Did you
getting
listen?
old, man, I guess.
Did you listen to the new Drake album? I didn't listen to a
No,
single
no.
freaking track. I could not care less.
The only new artist that I probably listen to more, like songs intentionally that I enjoy, which I know I'm not probably the right market for him, but is Benson Boone. And I just know it because my daughter was like, hey, this is, and then one of my sons too are like, hey, this is amazing music. Listen to this. And I'm like, is he the best songwriter in the world? No, he's terrible, but he's self-deprecating, and like the range that guy has is just obscene. Like what he's able, like on those high notes and everything. Vincent Boone. Do you like Vincent Boone?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard Benson Boone. Um,
My daughter would love to go to a concert of his, and I'm like,
what are like your 10 out of 10 albums? Like no skip song albums. Do you have any?
uh, I don't know that I do. So honestly, I tend to not listen to. I'll go through phases where I'm like listening to music intentionally and seeking it out, but that's pretty rare. Oftentimes, it's just background stuff, and I'm not paying attention to it unless somebody's like trying to like, hey, listen to this song. So uh, I'm weird in that Most people like their life is just full of music, and I think that's a beautiful, wonderful thing. If music ceased to exist, it was just not a thing anymore. Tons of people would be devastated. Me, I'd be like, yeah, life is pretty much unchanged.
Yeah. Uh, who listens to entire albums? Me. Um, I have like a whole thing of freaking vinyl because I'm a fucking hipster. But the vinyl experience is underrated. You have a guest who you're bringing, you're curating a night of music for them, and you have to think about, okay, which albums do I start with, and then do I end with, and like what is that arc in between? And it's harder to do when you're thinking about albums because you're thinking about like, hey, what's the vibe essentially? Versus songs, you can go from genre to genre immediately. So I don't know, I like albums.
Yeah, Matthew mentioned the Lord of the Rings music. That the music is so good. That yeah.
um yeah. Yeah. It's been a while
You've
since I
seen the extended cut, right? Lord of the Rings.
maybe I don't know. It's been a while. I gotta
What's
watch.
wrong with you, young whippersnappers? Like Amit hasn't seen it, and like
No,
it's
I've
the
seen Lord of the Rings.
best. Yeah, you okay? So you've seen the Lord of the Rings extended cut?
What's in the
Not
extended?
extended. It's like another hour of content, and it fills in a lot. They don't have Tom Bombadil, which a lot of people didn't like, but it's fine. But so much backstory, so many things that are left out of the main movie just because they were already really long. But man, like
Yeah,
I gotta watch this again soon. Just ignore
I
the Hobbit. Like it's
yeah,
okay.
go watch it now. I will.
Yes,
Ed Sheeran, I mean, he has some good stuff. Um,
he's one of the most gifted songwriters out there. Just
yeah, he's got
incredible.
some good stuff.
Did you see the movie Yesterday? Came out
Yes.
a few years
Yeah,
ago.
yeah, where it's like the
So
world has forgotten about the Beatles and this guy like recreates it kind of thing.
so like I don't know how to answer as far as like and I'd have to go and see which songs are on what album because I don't typically pay attention to that, but probably Beatles would be one of the like have a number of albums where it's just like not like dude like I probably should have said Beatles for like the
Beatles
greatest
is a
like I've
great,
and I'll play the ukulele a little bit and like Beatles songs are great to play on the
yeah, but
ukulele.
like favorite Beatles album though.
I don't know the albums, so yeah.
Man, you guys suck.
I'm
You
not a
and your
music guy.
going to albums. Anyways, all right, let's move on. Let's see what's next here. I like this music talk. Like I feel like this is more Fiesta Friday than
Yeah.
asking the same question about CoreWeave for the 15th time. Rubber Soul. Wow, there we go. That's an interesting one. That's a good album. That's a good album. Um, that's yeah. I think Norwegian Wood's on that album, right? Keep Me Honest. I like uh, the self-titled album is good. Let It Be is really good. Hard Day's Night. Yeah, can't think of other ones right now. So, anyways, let's see. Yeah, you'll never guess it, but like one of my no skip albums, Roy, the Eminem Show. Every single song in that album is a no skip. Every single song is just like peak.
We got different tastes, but that's okay.
Oh man, I'm all over the place. Like
Yeah.
I'm out here talking about freaking Pink Floyd metal and Beatles Norwegian Wood and then Eminem Show. Like it's all over the place, dude. Okay, let's move on. Why have I decided to sell out of air? I haven't, man. It's just the market is wanting my shares, and I have covered calls at 130, which I don't know if they're going to get hit or not. So we'll see. Um, how big of a correction do you think is coming this year, and when do you think it'll hit?
We had one already. Well, I don't know if it was a full correction. It was right. Yeah, 10%. Um, It wouldn't surprise me if we have another pullback. We'll get those from time to time. I don't know that we need to have another correction this year. What would induce that likely is uh, more higher inflation reads, and it looks like it's sustained because Hormuz is shut down. But barring that, I think that the second half of the year is going to be very exciting for investors. What about you? You think we're going to get a big pullback or correction this year?
Yeah, I think you'll get a pullback this year. I think if it does happen, it's going to happen at some point in the summer, um, maybe towards the end of the summer.
So, what about a correction? So, correction for those that are
It's like
here, that's 10% down, or at least 10% down from top to bottom. So, we didn't actually get that.
man.
Well, let's see. Did we? 9.13. We came close to that in the S&P 500. So,
I think you definitely can. Um, I wouldn't be surprised because like you have such high concentration in like you know 5 or 6 companies, right? So all you need is for the AI, trade to settle down, and then there you go. Um, it's possible. I don't know if it's like my base case, but like I wouldn't be surprised if it happens. What was I
yeah,
going
it's
to say?
possible. I think it's pretty unlikely, but
Yeah. All right. I think we wrap there. We're at the 2 hour mark, and it's 2 a.m. So maybe we wrapped there. Roy, what do you think?
yeah, let's wrap.
Okay. Thank you, everybody, so much for watching the Fiesta Friday. Uh, Thanks for actually talking about music, which is what this show was made to talk about, which is non-stock stuff. Um, and hope you guys have a good weekend. We will try to get somebody on to talk about Ondas and maybe other stuff. And that's it. Good night. Go watch Lord of the Rings. Yes. Goodbye.